Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus Flash Manufacturing. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director at 10 Minute Trades. Please remember all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. Okay, one moment. Let's get the audio working. Okay, testing 1 2 1 2. All right, audio should be working. Let's get started. Welcome everyone. Okie doke. We're here for Flash Manufacturing. It's Flash Thursday. You had Flash, French Flash, German Flash, British Flash, Euro Flash. All the Flash manufacturing services trades come out on the same day. And then we'll stay in the room for existing home sales and natural gas. But we will be closing our YouTube stream right after the Flash manufacturing. I do want to welcome everyone who's watching us on YouTube. Thanks for joining. We appreciate it. If you'd hit the like button. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll know the next time that we will be streaming. So we did some testing, of course, on this particular report. And there really is only one way that we would recommend trading it. And at this moment in time, the Flash USA is a trap trade. And it's been that way for quite a while. It's not like it's been a trap trade just recently. It's been a trap trade for many months. So let me show you a couple of reasons why we feel that way. First, let's look at the DMM. So you can use micro gold. Do we test micro gold? Honestly, no. We don't have the time to test all the micros and all the full size instruments. There's just too much testing. Um, some micros do better when it comes to mimicking the way that the regular size instrument trades. The MNQ, the MES tend to be a little bit better than oil and gold. In my opinion, micro oil is the furthest from regular oil. And then micro gold is decent. So I would trade it if I wanted to reduce my risk, and I would if I had a 20 stop or a 25 stop in a full size instrument, I'd use at least a 35 stop on a micro. All right, let's take a look at the daily trade report, the DMM. And let's see what this report looks like. So we have tested this report with bonds, but the reality is most members can't trade bonds. Um, the bond breakout, it's not like it's been incredible. Okay, it got whipped out in April. It only made 12 ticks in January. It got stopped in September. So, I'm not sure that we want to trade bonds at this point. The preferred setup is the gold trap. That's the preferred setup. So that's the way I'm going to trade it. I'm going to trade it in a prop account, and that's the way I'm doing it. All right. Now, this trade can be a little bit tricky because it releases very close to the market open. When you have a trade that trades at 9:45, it can still be affected by the market open. So that does make the trade a little bit more complicated. It adds risk. I mean, essentially, that's what you're dealing with, added risk. What's amazing is that gold from last night is almost flat. We haven't seen that. I can't remember the last time I've looked at gold and it wasn't up $40, down $80, super volatile. At the moment, gold is very close to where it was when the futures opened last evening. However, look at the behavior. It had gone up quite a bit last night, so it's extremely negative up until about 7 o'clock this morning. At 7 o'clock, roughly 7 o'clock this morning, it made a new low after selling off significantly. I mean, a lot, although for these markets, it was only about $18 or so. And it looks like it's recovered about 40% of that. So the past hour or so, gold got bullish, but it was quite bearish before about 7 o'clock this morning. So I like the fact that it's off the low significantly, so there's room for gold to move in any direction on this report. So that I like. So that gives me confidence to trade the trap trade. It makes me think that there's just as good an opportunity for gold to go down as there is for it to go up on this particular news. All right. So I'm going to trade the trap. And what is a trap trade? If we have a lot of new people that are watching because people are watching this on the internet, traders of the internet, what's a trap trade? A trap trade is an event that we believe after the news is released and there's a spike of some sort from the news, that spike will reverse and we will make our profit on the reversal. So a trap trade is a specialized reversal trade. That's all it is. Not that complicated. So we're going to choose our special software, trap trade, and I'm going to use position 1 as a 1, position 2 is a 1. That means I have one contract for each position. And I'm going to trigger this event at 9:44:55, 5 seconds before the news is released. I'm going to put my orders on the chart. I've got a 25 tick stop. This is a fairly high risk trade in terms of the amount of money that you could lose if it doesn't work. And you can also make a nice profit also. Tier 1 or bracket number 1 is 25 ticks. Tier 2 or bracket number 2 is 40 ticks. Add 40 ticks to the 25 tick stop and you have a 65 tick zone of safety. Should we get a spike bigger than 65 ticks, then we will stop out. Otherwise, we'll survive to trade. With a trap trade, of course, you want to survive to trade and survive for the reversal. And you want to do more than survive, you want to thrive. I'm going to label it Trap GC, and I'm going to trade it in my prop account. I'm going to trade it in my funded Apex account because I do like this trade. It's been a good trap trade. It's time to sit or get off the proverbial pot with Apex. And that's what I'm going to do, trade Apex. So here's the setup as the trap. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. That means each order has one contract. I'm going to trigger the trade at 9:44.55. I'm going to use a 25 tick stop. My bracket 1 or tier 1 is 25 ticks. Bracket 2 is 40. I'm trading it in Apex, so I'm going to apply it, okay it, turn on Apex on my chart trader, and turn on Apex by enabling the trade. So I'm ready to go on the trap. Now we could also look at the bonds just to see how it responds. So I'm going to put bonds all the way on the right. Now remember, in many prop accounts, you can't trade bonds. They still have not given us a good reason. Why can't we trade bonds? Somebody know? I don't know. Now, I haven't asked them in a long time either. I think it's time to ask them, when are we going to be able to trade bonds again in Apex and Bullinox? And I'm assuming you can't do it in Lilu also. Not being able to trade bonds is a pain. That's how I'm going to put it. So we're going to set up a breakout for ZF. We're going to trigger it at 9:44.58. We have a bracket of six ticks, and we have targets of 6 and 15. Target 1 is 6 ticks. Target 2 is 15 ticks. If it hits my first target, my stop will move to break even -3 with the target 1 stop move feature. And my stop is 15 ticks in size. It's $7 and change to trade the ZF in a cash account. I will also label this bonds. That makes sense, right? Because it is bonds. I'll leave it in sim because I'm not willing to trade this in cash. It hasn't behaved well enough. And I can't trade it in proper. I would in the prop accounts that I have. And I'll set the time to 0 so I could just see how our brackets look. Now, what did I say about the activation? 9:44.58. It's a 9:45 event. But I'm going to put my time on 0 for a moment. I'm going to enable the trade. See how the brackets are too big? Now they're tradable. I can turn it off, turn off the bonds, put it back to the correct time, 9:44.58, so the trade triggers when expected. There's our bonds. So both our setups are ready to go. Locked and loaded. Okay. So we've got Flash Manufacturing Services and the composite. We want to see all 3 news events on the same side. All of them good or all of them bad. We don't want, well, actually, for our trap trade, we will prefer actually if the news is mixed. Remember, this is not a breakout. If it were a breakout, we would want all the news to agree. But we would prefer mixed news because that makes the instrument you're trading choppier, generally. What we don't want is a move in one direction only. That would hurt us. Okay? Now, you could look at other instruments, NQ, ES, YM on this report. On a trade like this, on an event like this, what could hurt a trap trade could be a breakout for all, where every instrument breaks out, right? And you get a trade that doesn't work. Doesn't it look like the NQ is going to test the high? It sure does to me. I wish I would have set up a trade for the open. Now, if I was trading by myself, I might, in a rush, put on a reverse continuation, but it is the open. So notice, just when you think it's safe to go long, the open changes direction on you, and that's very, very common price action behavior on the market opens in the morning. So it's just something you want to be aware of. What I like to trade on this report, so you could also look at the ES on this report. And let's say you might want to trade after the news. Now, we don't really have a lot of time to trade after the news on this report because we do have existing home sales at 10 o'clock. So we do actually have a setup for that event. Sorry about that. Um, Now the market is moving down. Not uncommon market open behavior. So the ES on this report, you could set up a micro ES after the news trade if you so desire. So MES 625 is the instrument, and then you could set up a reverse continuation, add the strategy to the chart. Instead of being a breakout, it's a reversal continuation. MES, no reason you can't trade two contracts. 15 tick target, 30 tick target, 40 tick stop. If it hits my first target, I would go to break even on a scalp. And now I have a after the news trade if I were interested, MES REV. I label it, and then you just have to choose an account to trade it in. Now, like I said, we're not going to have a lot of time to trade after this news. Again, for the reason being, we have existing home sales at 10 o'clock. Okay? Now, there's no law that says you couldn't take a short right now if you thought the ES was going to go test the low. You are in the middle of the range between the high and the low, so it's not a great magnet because it could pull you in either direction. Okay? It was not a strong unidirectional move on the open. It opened up and then it went down and now it's pushing back up. Not, again, not unusual behavior for a market open. Let's take a look at our spike sheet. What's a spike sheet? A spike sheet is what you're going to learn how to make if you come to today's webinar. Our webinar is at noon, and we'll be giving a webinar on how to make a spike sheet, how to test your own trades. Our spike sheet on this report, you got to go back to June, 2 Junes ago. All right. Is it 2 Junes ago? No, last June. This report moved 72 ticks. After that June move, the biggest move we had on this report was 55 ticks. And then everything else was 30 or 40, except for one move in the 30s or 40s. Our spike sheet, so that was the spike size on the report. For our setup, when you look at our setup, what's our zone of safety? Remember what we said. What's our zone of safety? 25, 40 ticks on our second target, right? Our second bracket, I should say. Add that to the stop. We have a 65 tick zone of safety. This trade would have stopped out, if you go back to June, Only one time would the setup not have been safe when the news was released. Every other spike did a very nice reversal. July, 34 tick reversal. August, 34. September, 51. October, 54. November, 48. Almost last month, 100 tick reversal. This report is a trap trade. Okay, that's what it does best. Does that mean it's a guarantee it's going to work today? No, but we're seeing definitely less volatility in these markets. That much is true. I might have just lost myself. Nope. Um, Let me see if I can get myself back on camera here. Not sure. I got up to shut the door. On the internet, you might not see me on camera. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, this is a trap trade by its behavior. Just for fun, let's see what happened last quarter. I keep saying quarter because I'm thinking earnings. Last month, we had new home sales last month. I'm not sure if my webcam is working properly or not. If you want to type into the chat, if it is, you can let me know. So last month, we were watching bonds and we were doing what we're doing today, trading gold. Market opens at 9:30. There's our trap. The news came out. We got filled immediately. And it immediately reversed. Now, you don't want to trail super tight on these reports. I'm not going to trail super tight because there is a possibility of a strong reversal, and there it is. Look at that reversal. It was huge. Trap trade is definitely the way I want to trade this report. I know the risk. I know the risk from a trap trade, okay? I'm a grown-up. I've got my big boy trading pants on, and I know what the risk is. I know the risk is big, but I'm still trading it in my funded apex, okay? I'm willing to trade it. I'm willing to trade it. So type in what you're doing on this report. Type in what you're doing. Are you trading? Are you watching? Are you in an Uber? I don't know. Tell me what you're doing. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. TJ demo only, that's fine. MGC for Roz. Okay. Roz in Kenya. Kenya. Can you imagine that? I cannot imagine that. ZF and MGC on TJ. Anyone else? Anybody? Come on, we have a whole lot of people here. Who's doing anything? Somebody. Chantal listening to me. Chantal, I didn't even know you were here. Good morning. Now, anybody has a bad trade today, blame it on Chantal. She said do the trap trade. I had no idea what to do. She said take the trap. All right? Chantal liked the trap. Who's Chantal? Chantal is our team member, and she's responsible for a significant amount of our testing. And then I take the testing and I modify it all and destroy all the trades. Not really. No, we'll talk about testing, like I said at today's webinar. Chantal is responsible for my favorite trade of the last 3 months. FOMC statement, an ES trap trade. Now you have to have guts to trade an ES trap trade on the FOMC statement. But she noticed that that setup was working for more than a year, almost two. And that's why we traded it. And we made a lot of money on it last session and the session before. It's definitely better than the NQ breakout. All right, we're getting ready for a trap. Make sure your charts are spread far enough so you see all the orders and you can manage the trade. Now, I'm not going to pay attention to bonds. Bonds are going to trade all the way over here on a sim because we're just testing bonds. We have an MES after the news trade if we want, but we also have to think about existing homes if we want to. We'll see what the opportunity is right after flash manufacturing. It's possible that we won't even get a big response. We are seeing smaller volatility in the markets this week. And it started last week, in my opinion, when we didn't trade gold on University of was it University of Michigan? It was a Friday trade where the gold breakout was best. I think it was University of Michigan, if I remember correctly. Okay, we have 30 seconds. 30 seconds over Tokyo. Isn't it amazing all the useless crap that floats around in your brain that you don't need anymore? 30 seconds over Tokyo. Did you ever see that movie? Here we go. There's our orders. The news is coming out right now. I'm filled both orders. I'm getting ready to move my stop to safety. I'm shrinking my stop just a little bit. Not yet, not yet. I don't want gold to go only in one direction. I want to see a reversal. I do not like this move on gold. It's really, really, really pushing down, and it has all the feeling of a stop out. Now, look at every other instrument. And now, of course, it's going to reverse. I moved the stop and not enough. And now I'm really so frustrated. So frustrated. All I needed was about 5 more ticks. 5 more ticks. Look, this is an exercise in total frustration that the move was bigger than expected. The move was bigger than expected. Bond breakout worked. Bonds, you could move your stop to safety. The trap trade was too small, and our tiers were not tiny. You just don't know. Here's what created the issue. The news was fantastic. 52-3, 52-3, 52-1, all superb news, way over what was expected, pushed gold way down. I expanded the stop, not enough by about 4 miserable little ticks. 4 little ticks. And because of that, I had a losing trade instead of a winning trade. 4 ticks, it looks like. Otherwise, look at the tremendous, it's still a trap trade. It just moved so much because of the news result that it got us. It got us. That's just bad luck. bad luck that the news was an anomaly today. It was totally unexpected, and that created a huge move in gold. And that's why the trade didn't work. But when you look at the way that it moved, it's still a trap trade. Now, today, a breakout would have worked. And I know it sounds kind of crazy. Well, how can it be a breakout and a trap? Sometimes you get such a big move that both of them can work. Both of them can work. And I started moving the stop. I just thought I had it far enough away. I thought I had it far enough away. So it is what it is. ZF was a winner. Bonds were a winner. I was not that crazy about the ES move. It seemed to pop up and pull back. Gold pushing down on this news, though. We do have to get ready. Get ready for existing homes. I want to thank everybody for watching us online on the internet. As I said, we are going to end the stream, but for us, we're staying in the room. So thanks for watching us online. Hope everyone has a great weekend, holiday. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you the next time on